Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Capito here. In this video, I'm going to explain you how to be a YouTuber when you are in Italy. So when you are Italian fiscal resident. And this will be for the 2022, for this specific fiscal year. So we're going to explore exactly what is the best taxation that you can exploit and what is basically the kind of regime you should apply. And what is the situation where you can basically decide to apply the ordinary regime, the special regimes, etc. First of all, if you're new in this channel, if for you this is the first time that you see any ESENtaxa videos, this channel helps people to understand the Italian fiscal system, helps people to understand how to optimize taxes. We explain in ESENtaxa how to plan a long-term strategy if you relocate to Italy. Specifically, YouTubers have a different, not really different, but a specific way of work. Okay, there is a background of a creativity behind it, but mostly they create their channel using their iPhone or a camera. So they have very few tools, a lot of creativity, and they basically talk about some subject and they will get some money from the ads that you will see on YouTube videos. Of course, you have several ways to increase your income with several activities around it, but mostly, specifically, this is what the classic YouTubers makes money from. First of all, we have to understand what is your kind of business as a YouTuber, because YouTuber can be somebody that always travels, for example, and thanks to the trips, thanks to all those journeys, the YouTuber have a lot of materials that can use to record videos. So, and in order to create those videos, the YouTubers needs to travel a lot. As I said, travels like using trains, transportations, hotels, bread and breakfast, etc., etc., etc. So, and all those things can be considered like cost, like expenses. While if you're a YouTuber that basically talk about some subject behind a desk, and this is enough because the topic it's a specific niche, it's something interesting, but you don't have to really move around to build that specific video, to create that specific video. So you don't have a lot of costs related to your activity as a YouTuber. And this makes a huge difference in terms of which kind of regime you as a YouTuber you want to register in Italy, because you have to register yourself as a self-employed or as a freelance. So if you have a lot of costs, let's say if your costs are more than 50-60% of your revenue, you should basically register your VAT position simply with the ordinary regime. Okay, so we have the first point. If costs to build your video, to create your videos are bigger than 50%, or even I would say 60% of your revenue, then you have to apply the VAT with the ordinary regime. So you go to ordinary regime. Okay? This is considered these things like a general idea, as a general concept. Of course, each case needs to be analyzed one by one. So this video is just to give you an idea how we think behind the tax planning strategies, okay? So this is the thing. So if your costs are a lot, you have to use the ordinary regime, because the ordinary regime allows you to deduct the effective cost, the coherent cost linked to your activity. Of course, if you're not just making video, but you're doing other business around your YouTube channel, you have to add several code activity next to your code activity related to YouTube videos. This means that you can have other costs related to other type of business, such as e-commerce around your YouTube channel. So all your followers, for example, they want to purchase some t-shirts or some other kind of affiliate marketing links. And this will be linked to another code activity. And you can have multiple code activity, but all those code activity, they have a specific type of costs that can be deducted, or other costs that cannot be deducted, some other 100%, some other 80%. So if the overall thing, let's say, it's more than 50-60% of the cost, you go to the ordinary regime, and the ordinary regime goes to the RPF taxation. RPF taxation, which goes from 23% up to 43%. Here in ESENtaxa, we talk a lot about the RPF taxation, so you can watch one of our previous videos in which you can basically understand how the RPF taxation system works. Okay, of course, if your revenue is quite big, so if you move to Italy and your revenue it's already quite big, like 100,000 euro, 200,000 euro, 300,000 euro, then the ordinary regime makes no sense anymore, because the taxation is going to be around 43%. And this is not a good way to optimize. It's true that you deduct all your costs, but what remains, which is your profit, is going to be taxed at 43%. That's the reason why, if you have a bigger revenue, the ordinary regime is not the right choice. What is the right choice? Is to go to an SRL. So, point number 2, if your revenue is bigger than, let's say, 200, I would say 150k, you definitely have to use an SRL. So you have to open an Italian, let me put it this way, we have to create an SRL, incorporate an entity that allows you to still deduct your costs, but since it's an entity, you can decide how much withdraw in your salary, because you become administrator of this SRL. And the SRL have a maximum tax rate of 27%. Okay, so you won't end up at 43%. Of course, you can be administrator of this company. You can withdraw your salary. The salary goes to RPF taxation, but you can decide on an upper limit, and the rest of the money can be withdrawn through the dividends, which they have a different taxation with an upper limit of 26%. As you can see, the rates are lower, and you will never end up paying 43% in taxes. Of course, the SRL has some maintenance costs like accountability costs, and makes sense if your revenue is bigger. I would suggest 100,000K. What if your costs are less than 50% or 60%? If you're basically your costs are like, let's say, 20% as a YouTuber and not more, or 30% if you want. So between 20% or 30%. Then what you should do in the first place, in the first year you move to Italy, is to open the forfeit regime. So you're not going to use the ordinary regime, but the forfeit. Because the forfeit regime basically works like this. If you earn a certain amount of money, the Italian state gives you like a forfeit cost. So you don't have to really account the real cost. So they will give you for grant, like that you paid 20% or 30% of the revenue to your business activity. So that's the reason why the forfeit regime makes a lot of sense if you have very few costs. Like you just have your iPhone, you talk about a specific topic, you create a video with this kind of topic, and that's it, and nothing else. You really don't have any real cost that can be deducted against your revenue. Then the forfeit regime makes absolutely sense. And the other good thing about the forfeit regime is that you pay only 5% taxes. So the tax rate is only 5% for the first 5 years of activity. What is the constraint about the forfeit regime is that you have a limited threshold of revenue, which is 65,000 euros. So the forfeit regime, the first year of activity, you can also make 1 million. But the problem is that if you keep 65k as a threshold every year, then you will keep this 5% flat tax for 5 years, and then becomes 50% after 5 years. So basically, the 65k is the threshold that you should not pass in order to keep the forfeit regime active. Okay? Instead, if you pass the forfeit regime, if you pass the 65k and you make like 70k, 100k, 200k in revenue, you will still enjoy this 5% tax in that specific fiscal year, but the following year you're obliged to exit the forfeit regime, and then you have a choice. Either you move to the ordinary regime, and then you have to make the calculation and check if your costs are real and are a lot, or the best things, if you don't have a lot of costs, move straight to an SRL solution. Okay, so this is the best strategy as a YouTuber in 2022. There are a lot of you guys that may have already a business abroad, they have already a company abroad, and they might ask us, what if we run our business with a foreign company and we move to Italy as a physical person? Here's gonna be a little bit complicated because the place of effective management of that company is always you. You as a physical person, as administrator of the company, you running a business from Italy. And since you are Italian fiscal resident, the Italian tax authority, they will think that that company, even if it's foreign one, is considered an Italian one. So you're supposed to register the foreign company in Italy and pay the exactly same taxes like an SRL. Or alternatively, you close the foreign one and you open an SRL from scratch. One of the two is legally accepted, is what you're supposed to do. There are a few exceptions in which you should not open an SRL or neither register a foreign company, because you have the proof that your place of effective management of this company is abroad. But this is going to be complicated to prove, and the proof might be in your shoulder, in your side. It's not the Italian tax agency that comes with some proof and looking for to find you, but basically it's you that you have to prove that the place of effective management of this SRL is outside the Italian territory. This kind of discussion is not just for YouTuber, it's a discussion for a lot of business. You can have the similar schema, you can follow the similar schema. For anything else, don't forget that in the description below the video you will have the ESENtaxa@gmail.com, the email address. You can contact us, you can ask us a lot of questions about these schemas, about the YouTube strategy if you want to move to Italy. You can ask us about the forfeit regime, when it's more convenient to use the forfeit regime rather than the ordinary one. And of course, at the top of the forfeit regime, you can also apply for the impatriate regime, which has the 90% deduction or 70% deduction if you are graduated, or if you are considered a high qualified person that lived abroad for a certain number of years. This is everything that we can check in our consultation, 1 hour Zoom call consultation. And I'm gonna give you a small tip in the end of this video. If you want to stay in Italy, of course, for less than 6 months, all this discussion make no sense, because you're not the Italian fiscal resident, don't have any tax obligation towards the Italian states. So keep in mind that for less than 6 months, you are absolutely tax-free, and you will have to basically pay your taxes in a country where you have your fiscal residence. That's it for this video. If you want to help us to grow our channel, notification bell, click the like button please, and subscribe the channels to be always updated with the new Italian regulation, fiscal law, tax strategies, and much more. See you to the next video.